you have completed all the projects, and especially one of the projects was exactly like MLP project, I guess.
The project,
The first project that you did, where you ran like
okay,
specific
that one,
data classifiers.
that uh, fitting of six models, I guess. The name
Yes,
was.
yes, fitting of six models.
All right. So that was, I would say, a very toned down version of of the MLB project. So MLB project consists of way more factors than what I did. So actually, the story behind that project was that one of my friends was indulged in a certification course, and he requested me to, do the assignment for him. He was unable to do the assignment, so I just hooked in and helped him with that project. So that's it. So all that project actually had was simply training six models on a particular data set. It was a pre-cleaned data set, so I didn't have to do much in for that. And then I just ran six models for that.
So like you
It
just
was,
ran six models, or like you did some kind of fine tuning, like you changed the hyperparameters, like number of.
yeah, I did some level of fine tuning in that. I ran hyperparameter tuning to for some models, I guess, but there was nothing like data pre-processing was not involved much. There was not much of cleaning which was involved. So yeah, so I would say that it was a very toned down version of the MLP model, MLP project.
Hi, Saransh. I was just looking through the project. Do you believe it has been made? The project has been made by considering like everyone as equal, like a level playing field for everyone.
You're talking about the TDS project, project
Yes.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so can you please repeat your question once?
Just my question is like, has the project been made considering a level playing field for everyone, or like, yeah, what's your say on
Well,
that?
Jivraj, can you answer that question?
So, if I just open TDS project. So here they have set the background for the problem. So they're just making a story, and then what you actually have to do in this project, you have to create an application which have these two endpoints. So this comes from Fast API or any other API you can use. This is just to create an application, and this is the method that should be used. So what they will check upon, they will send a particular task, and then you will need to execute that particular task, and then this is another thing. So how this will work, you would have to download some data that will get generated on through this URL, and you would have to pass a um, parameter to this particular URL, and that way you can generate the data. Once you get the data, you will have a folder called data, and within that folder, so let us say this is one of the question, one of the tasks you can say. So this is format the content of this particular file using prettier, updating the file in place. So this is one of the tasks that you might have to do. And then the file data date.txt contains a list of date, one per line, and then you need to count the number of Wednesdays. So these are the different kind of tasks that they will require you to do, and those tasks will come through this particular endpoint. So they will come to your application through this endpoint, and whatever application you make, you will have to push it to GitHub as well. And along with GitHub, you will have to create a Docker file, and then you will have to push it to a Docker Hub, and this is the form that you would have to fill. So this requires you to fill the GitHub part, and this is to uh, give the name of the Docker file. And once you do all this, uh, they will try to execute your script using this uh, command. So they will use podman to run the image that you have submitted through the Google form, and these are the stuff. So all these will get covered in, some of them will get covered in week 2, and some of them will get covered in week 3. So this
Yeah. So
Basically, the project is like a
exactly.
puree of each and everything you have learned until now. All right.
Just a
So,
second. I think most of the time was given to explain the project. My question is like, uh, again, like, not everyone here has a coding experience, and the project expects us to create an application. Uh, so, isn't that too high a benchmark that is being set for everyone? And what if someone had a non-science student who is here to just complete this course in order to get the diploma certificate? I just find it very overwhelming. Thank you for the explanation, though, but I would like your elaboration on the topic, on the question, that particular question that I'm asking.
So from my point of view, it just have three parts. One is that GitHub part, then another is that publishing to it to Docker Hub, and then the third part comes from LLM. So all of these are not very hard stuff, and we expect everyone to learn these things.
well, you might not have a coding background, but you know what? In TDS, we are trying to develop that background for you. Okay, so you may come from a nonsense background, you may come from an arts background. So over here we are trying to develop that particular background for you. Okay, so whenever you're going to enter the industry, you should be ready with all these tools packed up in your bag, and you should just be able to use all these tools. So when you are saying that you might not be, you're not from a technical background, and you might face some challenges, so those challenges you have to face. Okay, so that's the only way you can build up that background and bridge up that gap, the technical gap which exists. All right. So for instance, a technical person who has been in the industry for past, let's say 10 years, I would think that few things in this TDS course will be new to him as well. Okay, so that bridge which you have to cross, may be a long bridge or it may be a short bridge, but you have to cross that. So, and to assist you in that, in crossing that bridge, we are here, we are taking these live sessions for you. You can use chat gpt, you can use any kind of software you want to use to complete these projects. So Jivraj, are we going to elaborate on how we are going to create these applications? Are we going to show them some demonstration for this?
Yeah, sure, Anshu. We'll be having dedicated session for project as well, and we'll have some. So, we have some questions related to fast APIs in week 2 as well.
So we will be covering these topics which you lack, and in these live sessions, you should also consider watching videos from YouTube to understand how these applications work and whatever is asked. So you know, let's not let's not just remain in that particular box of it has not been taught to me. How can I do this? I'm not from a technical background. How can I? Bro, you are doing a degree from IIT Madras, and that's a data science and applications degree. So if you lack that background, you have to build that background. So there is no other way. And for bridging that gap, we are here. Okay, so ask us questions. We will be taking live sessions. We'll be giving you study materials, reference materials to study from, and you have to do it on your own.
Sure, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, one more thing which I would like to address to everyone in this meeting. I have taken two live sessions with Jivraj yet, and what I've noticed is that uh, the number of people who actually attend these live sessions regularly are fairly low. So there ought to be a significant amount of number, let's say 500 to 400 to 500 students who are actually enrolled in this course in this current term. But as we can see, only 15 of us are here, and at peak time there is only like 25 students. So 25 students is the max I have seen in these live sessions. So all I want to say is that those contents, those techniques which have not been taught in the let's say the week content, the weekly content, but has been asked in the GAs, is being asked in the projects, and will be asked in the ROEs, are being covered in these live sessions. Okay, so we are going question by question for these GAs, and trying to show you guys how you can actually, you know uh, get around of these techniques. So, and not only we are teaching you these techniques, we are also giving you tips and tricks. We are also telling you how you can, abridge these gaps which you might have. We are also telling you how you can approach the ROEs and the projects in in a way that you can complete them, and you can score really well in that. So that's good that you guys are actually attending these lectures regularly, and that's really appreciable, and keep doing that. But also encourage your friends, encourage your mates who you know. uh, Encourage those people who are in those groups of TDS that you are currently in, and tell them, that there are live sessions happening, and you should, participate in these live sessions, and ask your doubts and study from here. I have seen people posting discourse posts, and messaging on WhatsApp that we haven't been taught SC commands, we lack this, we haven't, like, I'm not going to do the data science and programming diploma. So the programming diploma, so why are we being taught all these things? So uh, we are covering everything in these live sessions. Please tell them, please guide them to actually join these live sessions and make these live sessions more lively. All right. Also, Jivraj, can you show that new feature, that new feature of live sessions we have added? All right. So
So
we have added a very new feature in TDS. So if by any chance you miss any live session, you can actually, we have curated the entire live sessions into a few important questions which were being asked in those live sessions over here. Okay, so we have questions, and then there are answers for those questions. So by any chance, if you miss those live sessions, you can any day come here and just get around all these questions, and you can, get a gist of what happened on that live session. Okay, so this has been, I guess, emailed to all you guys, the link for this particular page, or you can find this on the course page as well. Okay, at the very bottom. All right, guys, let's get started.
Which page is this?
uh, can you, Jivraj, can you show them how to reach over here?
Live sessions.
so
So it's that the main
in the
page
sidebar,
of
if you go
the
to the
application.
last bit, then you can get
Yeah.
the link for these one.
So these were actually created using the transcripts of these live sessions. We
Ah,
just put them in an AI software, and that inputted out all these questions and answers, the important questions and answers.
that is really good.
Yeah. So these will be helpful for you during your, quizzes, or whenever you're trying to, like, during your end term, you can just you can just give a bird's eye view of all these questions, instead of, rather than going through 2 hours of live session videos on YouTube. All right.
Okay.
So let's get started. Jivraj, please take over.
This should be like a standard for all courses.
Well, let's say TDS is, first in everything.
Just a second, sir. I would like to. This is really helpful feature because otherwise you have to watch the YouTube videos. My question is, tomorrow the session is scheduled at 5 p.m. Is that by glitch or is it intentionally 5 p.m.?
No, it will be at 5 p.m.
All right, so actually we had college classes. Works.
So on every Tuesday, there is class between 5 to 7, and on every uh, Wednesdays we have classes between 9 to 10, and rest of those classes, if there is any class, that will be between 8 to 10. These timings have been pre-planned.
All right, sir.
Okay, so this
All
is
right,
the
Jivraj,
form
let's
through.
get started.
So if you guys need any support regarding any particular topic, then you can even go to this particular form, which you can access through live learning feedback over here on portal itself. And then if you are finding some, let us say in module 1, if you have any difficulties related to any of these, then you can select them. You can even select multiple of them, and then you can uh, select whatever suits you in this one, and you can fill this form till the very end. And then once you submit, these responses comes to us, and then we used to plan our sessions based on these feedback as well. Okay. So anyone here knows about what is GitHub? What is Git and GitHub?
It's like a large library where a lot of creators provide their like projects and already written programmings that can be accessed by other people, so they can take inspiration from it, I guess.
Yes, so you can create a repository, and then you can upload your code there, and then others can also work on the same place by forking and creating pull request. So now what I will do, I will start virtual machine.
One question regarding UV. Does it not work on Windows?
No, it does work in Windows as well. So if you go to the documentation of UV, then you can find the installations of Windows as well.
So pip install UV won't work, right?
If pip is installed on UV, then sorry, if pip is installed on your machine, then it would work.
Okay, it was not working, so I installed in WSN and did it. But yeah,
Okay.
Except pip, there is also another method of installing UV in your device for Windows. You can check that. That worked for me. I did not have pip.
How should
see the
one
first
do?
one.
How should one download in Mac?
There is code for that also. You can go to the link that is given in the UV question. All the different methods of installing UV is just written there. You can just copy paste into your terminal.
You run
All
that
right.
extension.
So what are we actually going to do over here with GitHub and Git? So firstly, Jivraj will be showing you how you can actually run Git along from your command line. Okay, and then I'll be showing you how you can actually use it from a VS Code.
So over here, I have just set up a new virtual machine. I think yesterday I have set it up, and I haven't installed anything on it. So this is fresh machine on which we can try working with Git, so that if there is some issue comes up, let us say if we need to configure or we need to do something, we can do it in this machine. So, hmm, is this machine or that machine? So let me look at look at all the files that are there in the current working directory. So I have created a profile with TDS Jan 2025 name, and now I will create a directory. We'll go to that directory, and now I will initialize this as in Git directory, so that I can work on multiple branches and I can even commit it. So this will initialize it as in Git uh, project. So let us say if I create a file over here, 1.txt, this is first line of code, this is second line. And once I have initialized it, I can add multiple files to uh, the Git to track when I have committed and when I have done some modifications to it. So now I will look for the status of this particular file, and then these are they will list uh, which files are not tracked. So by tracking files, uh, Git always track if you have committed something or if you have modified something to it. So let us say now I commit it. And before committing something, I will have to add files. So if I run git add and then dot, this dot, what it would do, it will add all these files. Now all these files will get tracked with uh, git. So these are the files that are getting tracked with git, and now I can commit because it says this can be committed. And when I commit, I will have to provide some message. It can be any message. Let us say I created first file. And before you commit something, it will ask you for setting up these configurations. So it would need the identity of author. So now what I will do, I will I will configure my user email, and I will also configure my username with git command. So and I will configure them globally, and I will use the same email address to which I have created my GitHub account. So I will use this particular username, and the email that I would use is, I think, here. Okay, I already know which
Go to
email I'm
emails.
using.
Go to emails now. You can see it there.
Go to emails. Okay, so these are the two emails that I have already added. So I will use this IITM one right now. Then the other configuration that I have to do is regarding the username. And which will be this name, which is Jivraj-18. Now I have configured it. That means now I should be able to make a commit. Okay, so now it says I have created first file. This is message, and then this is commit ID. Now if I look for the status, it says nothing is there to commit, and there is nothing in the staging area as well. So, and right now we are on the master branch. So whenever we run git init, it initializes your git repository on the master branch. Okay. So now that I have created a GitHub repository locally, I would like to push it to uh, GitHub so that others can also work on the same repository. So now what I will I will create a new repo, and name of the repo can be today's date. And you can choose if it should be a public or private one. And then you can even put some readme files that explains about how to run this particular project. And then
Maybe
now
you
I
can.
just create
Okay.
yeah, Ritvik.
Just saying that you could have chosen the license as well, like MIT license is there, no? So that option you could have chosen. But that is fine. Okay.
Okay. So here they are telling us that how we can use it on command line. So let us say you create a readme.md file, and then you initialize the project using git. And once you initialize the project, you would have to add this particular file, this, and then you would have to commit it, and then uh, you make sure that you are on main branch, and then you will add this particular remote location of uh, the repository. So now we have done all these steps. So we would have to uh,
So this git branch m main, does it like make a new one or does it rename the existing one?
wait a second. There is some background noise in my. Back. Is there any background noise from my side?
Yes, there is some actually.
Okay. Hi. So I will deal with this uh, git branch and these things a little bit later. So right now what I will do, I will add this particular URL as the git remote git repositories, and then we'll try to push to this repo. Okay. And now that we have added this this remote repository, what I would do, I would push the code to a particular branch. Since master branch, I will push it to master. Now, before I push my code, it would require me to uh, use my username. Let us say JIVRJ is my username, and then I also know my password, so I will try to type my password. But then it would fail because the way they have they are not supporting password authentication as of now. So we would need to create personal access token, or we might need to set up SSH to do it. So now what I will do, I will go to GitHub again, and then I will get the personal access token. So if you click over here, and over here, if you go to the settings option and from settings, if we go to, I think, is it which one? Oh yeah, developer settings. And inside developer settings, we have three options. One is GitHub apps, and then another is this one. And then we need to go over here, and then we'll create one new token. So I will generate a token now. So I will have to name this token. I can give any name. Let me give test one or something. And expiration date, let me set it to 7. And it is for public repo. Only select the maximum repo, and this is read only.
How does a token help? Like, what are we trying to achieve by a token?
Yeah. So when I tried to authenticate, when I tried to push this code to the remote repository on GitHub, then when I tried to use my password for GitHub, it doesn't work because now they have stopped supporting password-based authentication. We will need to use personal access token for this purpose. So from 31st August, they have stopped supporting password as an authentication because that is less secure way. Because when you generate a personal access token, it generates a entirely uh, random string, you can see, and it uses it as an password to authenticate that it comes from a legitimate thing. So here we have control over if you want to. So for this particular token, if you want access for only public repository, or you want access for all the repos, or you can even select which all repos you want this token can access. I mean, this token, if you have created a token for a particular repo, then you won't be able to use it on other repositories. But if you create a token for all the repos, then you can use it anywhere. That is what is there. And then here we can control all these different permissions. I think commit, I will need to give read and write. And then if I don't give it required permissions, then it won't be able to uh, commit, I think. And I think I will need to also agree to administration permissions. I don't remember which all permissions I had to give, but now I will just generate the token and then we'll see if it works or not. Now I have copied this token. What I would do, I will just push it to GitHub. I will use my username, and the token that I have generated, now I will use it here. Permission to this particular repo is denied to Jivraj18, the request URL. So that is because it doesn't have necessary permissions. I will have to generate some other token.
See, I remember that when we like I when I did it, I was redirected to GitHub, and then I logged in, and then it kind of saved something in the system itself, and now every time I push, it automatically does it.
So you would have used VS Code, is it?
Yes, I used VS Code.
Yes, VS Code does everything for you. It is
Okay.
very painless task.
Jivraj,
Yeah, yes, Sharan.
can we show them how you can actually set up the SSH, and there would be no, then we won't be actually needing the tokens anymore. What do you say?
Yeah, sure. We will do that. I don't exactly remember which all permissions it needs. So if we give the right amount of permissions, then it will work. Maybe some event followers.
Where can you know what permissions to give?
You can ask it to GPT, and even there are documentations. Create and modify user git commands, and then this is such or else what you can do, you can give all these permissions, then it will for sure work. But anyway, you don't have there is one more way. So if you use this GitHub personal access token thing, then every time you make a push to GitHub, then you will have to use this token. So let us say if you change something and then you if push it back to GitHub, then it requires personal access token every time you do that, which is not efficient. So other way of doing it is you use something called uh, SSH key pair generation thing.
You will find it in the GitHub docs.
How do I set up SSH for? So if you go to this particular documentation, the same documentation is also here, I think. Somewhere, if you go over here, no, it's not here. Anyway, if you search on internet SSH authentication on GitHub, then you can find this particular page. And then if you run this particular command, then you will get a token. So now what I will do, I will execute this command. So what you will have to do, you will have to open your bash, and then you will have to execute this particular command, and then it will generate some string, which will be your, which you can use to authenticate on GitHub. So if I just press enter, 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 it will generate the public key, and then I will just copy this path, which is here, which have .pub as an extension, and then I will just get it. I will get this particular these things. So now what I will do, I will go to GitHub again, and then it might be in over here.
It's
Sharan,
there.
do you
It's
know
under the
where?
GPG keys. It's right there, Jivraj.
Yes, yes. Is it under?
It's on the left side. Yeah.
The left.
No, no, no. Just close this menu over there at the bottom. Yeah. SSH and
Section
GPG
C,
keys.
access then SSH.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So now I will create one new key. Let me call it TDS underscore key, and its type will be authentication key. Why? Because we will use it to authenticate while pushing to GitHub. and then I will paste the actual key that was generated, and then now I will just add it. And now that I have added, I will go back to the documentation. So we have done this part, and this have generated it. So this is some name, what kind of which name you want for the file. And I think I will have to use this, but instead of this particular path, what I will have to do, I will have to use this path. So I'm not using dot public because this is private key, which gets used to authenticate. So there is two public and private key that gets generated. So private key, you can think of it as in lock to the room, and then public key, you can think of it as in key to the lock. So if you have that, no, actually we provide public key to the GitHub, so that you can think of a lock. So they use your public key to validate if it is a authenticate user or not. Could not open a connection to your authentication agent. Let me check why it is the case. So while you are setting up SSH, if you get any error, then you can always go to GPT and ask for the help. So I would have to start the SSH agent, and now it would give me the command to start the SSH agent. So if I just do this, it will start it. So it have started with this particular process ID. If you see this kind of output, then SSH agent have started. Now once you have started it, you can just use what you have already used. So I will reuse it. And now this identity had been added to. And now I think if I will try to push this code again, it won't ask for password. If it is asked, then maybe I will have to restart this machine.
With this general kind of stuff, ChatGPT is a savior.
Can you repeat, Rishabh?
A general comment. Whenever we are stuck in debugging, na, ChatGPT helps a lot.
Yes, it helps a lot. Now let me try to again push git push origin master. It again asks for this thing. Let me check if it is there.
Jivraj, uh, try one thing. Git push has dash u, then origin master.
I think this will also ask for password.
Okay. Then after adding the SSH key, it shouldn't be asking this passwords.
Yeah, actually, once you have added it, it should not ask for this kind of validation. So it is here. It seems correct to me.
Jivraj, can we do
Yes,
one
sure.
thing?
Yeah.
Uh, I can take over and I will show them how you can actually use GitHub using VS Code. In the meantime, you can debug this error. What do
Sure,
you
sure,
say?
sure. Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Is my screen visible? Someone just open their mic and kindly let me know if it is visible or not.
Yes, sure. Is it?
Yes,
It is
it's
visible.
visible.
It's
All
visible.
right. Okay. All right. So, Jivraj just showed you how you can actually, how you are actually meant to use GitHub, and how you can actually run bash commands using git bash, and how you can actually connect between your Git repo and the uh, uh, your Git repository in your own devices. All right. So let's see how you can actually achieve that all using VS Code. So VS Code is like a software which is designed to facilitate you in every shape or form. Okay, so there is an extension for, let's say, you can actually send requests using Thunder client. There are several other types of extensions which actually does a lot for you, which may take a considerable amount of time for a person with not who doesn't have a technical background. But GitHub makes it easy for everything. All right. So let's do one thing. Let me create a new Python file. Okay. Let's name it. Uh, okay. Let's name it try and put some code in it. Let's say print hello world. All right. Python runs. All right. Okay. So this is working. All right. So let's do one thing. First and foremost, we have to set up a GitHub repository for this particular repo. All right. So let me just firstly close everything.
Repo is like a collective of code.
Actually, over here in your own device, you will be creating a Git instance. All right. So that Git instance will actually allow you to control your version. So to actually, it will be actually helping you with version control. Okay. So I will be showing you how it actually helps you in version control in a while. And what
Okay,
GitHub actually does is
what
GitHub
is
GitHub is a place where you can actually store all that information, all that get that entire Git instance on a public domain. Okay, so like it's a public platform where you can actually store all those GitHub instances, and you can repeatedly push your code during the development. So what it ensures is that if by any chance you actually get you delete your code, or let's say your machine gets corrupted or anything else, your code will be published over here. Okay, so there are also options to actually uh, uh, let me just show you. So it will ask you, when you will go to GitHub, you just create a new GitHub account, then you have to click on new to create a new repository. So this repository is nothing but the GitHub instance, the instance which you actually have on your devices. Okay, so you are just pushing that entire Git instance to a public platform.
so
All
it's
right.
like a
So
folder on a Google Drive instead of our own computer.
exactly. Okay, so not instead of your own computer, but actually it's on both of your devices. So
In
it's
addition to,
on the
okay,
GitHub.
in addition
Yeah.
to the folder on our
Yeah,
device.
actually, so you will have that Git instance on your device as well. Also, you will have this particular repository where you will actually push new data, new commits into from your own device, and this is like a secondary backup for you. And
Yes.
moreover, this is how you actually show your own code to some other person. Okay,
And why are we referring to it like Git instance?
because we are actually going to create a new Git instance over here in your own device. So creating a Git instance, then using it for version control, and then we can actually transport this Git instance to GitHub. Okay, so first and foremost, we have to create a new repository. Create a new repository. Let's say let's call it TDS live session
So Git is the basically version control system, and GitHub is just a place where Git
platform to host it,
is are hosted.
kind of.
How do
So
we
there
put
are like
version control? How do we put version control in simple terms?
version control. For instance, you have multiple people working on a project. All right. So let's say you're working with me on a project where we have to create a new website. Okay.
All right, so the
And
version as in a Google Doc, like different people working so at different times the changes are made.
kind of, kind of.
Okay, okay.
So like I have created, so like let's say I'm working on the back end, and in the meantime you're working on the front end. So we have different devices in our systems. Okay, so when we are working on different parts of a project, what it can do is we can create an we can create a new, so these are called actually branches. Okay, so it's like an entire tree. So I will be working on, let's say, branch Saransh, you will be working on branch Jatin, and then there is the mother branch which is called master. Okay, so there is a master branch where all that code is merged into. Okay, so it's like a tree. This is how it works. And version control, this is how you actually achieve version control. So multiple people are pushing their codes to your project, and this is how it's getting developed, uh, bit by bit, by everyone. Okay,
Yes, thank
so
you.
while creating this new repository, it will ask you that do you want to create it as a public repository or a private repository. So that's up to you. If you want to keep it private, you can do that. But if you want to show it to everyone in the world, so that would require you to mark it as public. Okay, in private, you can actually add new collaborators in your repository. So let's say if I and Jatin are actually working on a project and we don't want anyone else to view this project, it's get in the Git repository. We don't want anyone to view this Git repository. So what we can do is we can create a private Git repository. Then I can add Jatin as a collaborator. So only he and I can actually see what's happening in this repo. Okay, so let's create a public repo for the time being. I will create a new repository. Okay, so here is your new repository, and I will be showing you how you can actually connect this with your Git instance in your device. Okay, so let's come back to our VS Code. Here, what I will do is I assume that everyone will have this third tab, which is source control. Okay, so if you will click on this third tab, you will actually see some text written over here. It's saying, do you want to initialize a new repository, and or do you want to publish it to GitHub? So you have to click on initialize a new repository. Okay, so we have to create a new instance of GitHub. Okay, initialize. So it has initialized a new repository for us. No, a new initialized a new Git instance for us. All right. Now what I can do is, now that I have created this new file, uh, I can commit it to the GitHub instance. Okay, so if you will now go to the actual folder, you will see that here it is a new Git instance which has been created. Okay, so some of you might not be able to see this because it is actually a hidden object. It's a hidden folder, hidden directory. So how you can actually access this? Simply click on view, then show, and then click on hidden items. Okay, so if you are not able to see this Git folder, then this is the reason. Okay, so just check this hidden items and then you will be able to see this particular folder. All right, now let's get back over here, and now we have to actually so what Git actually does is, just like Jivraj showed you, that when you are actually going to commit something, when you are going to save it in your Git instance, you have to send a message with it. Okay, so let's send a message. Okay, so this is our first commit, so let's send a message of first commit. All right, Now what you can do is you can simply commit it. Okay, let's just commit it once. It has been committed. Okay, so can you see this? Can you see this little node over here at the very bottom, at this bottom panel? So this is the first node of our tree, of our GitHub tree. Okay, so let's say I want to create let's make some new changes in it. Okay, so it's print hello world. Let's make it something like you know uh, print Saransh. Please print my name. Okay. So here it has printed my name. Let's save it. And now, did you see that when I made some changes into this file, it has like firstly it was showing you that you can publish it to GitHub, but now it's telling me that firstly you have to commit it to your Git instance. So understand it this way: whenever you are making some changes in your files, when you're working with them, and there is a Git instance involved in that particular project, so at first you have to commit those changes to your GitHub instance. Okay, so this is a GitHub instance, and here you have to actually commit those changes. Then it will actually allow you to push those changes to your GitHub repository. Okay, so is that understood? Is this process actually understood, or should I draw out this somewhere?
Understood, sir.
All right,
Sir, but
so
my
this is,
VS shows open folder in clone repository. Like I have to connect it to Git.
so here when you clicked over here, so it's showing you what?
Open folder in clone repository.
So you must have not opened a new folder. You must have just opened VS Code without opening it in a new folder. Is that the
Oh,
case?
I will just check, sir, once.
Yeah, so just open a new folder, click over here, then open with code. So
Command O.
then you will actually be working with a code, with the folder. Okay,
Oh, all right, sir.
all right. So let's commit this particular change as well. So let's name it name added. Okay, so this is our name added commit, and I will commit it. Okay, so did you see this? Are you able to see this? Uh, some changes have been done here. So our tree is actually growing. Okay, so this was our first commit, and then this is our next commit, our second commit. So this is how it actually controls your version. So this was our first commit. If I click over here, you can see that what I actually did. Okay, and now when I click over here, you can actually see that what new code was added. So this is how it actually manages your versions. Okay, so this was, let's say this was my version 1, my first commit, it was my version 1. Then this name added commit was my version 2, kind of. Okay, we can say this is our versions. uh, and this is how it actually helps you in version control. It actually shows you that which all lines you have added, and what all code you have added in your code. So this is how it actually helps you in version control. Okay, let's close this. All right, so all these changes have been committed to our Git instance. Now what remains is connecting it to our Git repository, GitHub repository. All right, so how you can actually do that? Let's click on publish branch. Okay, I'll click on publish branch. Now it's asking us that we have to allow this particular extension to sign up with GitHub. Okay, let's allow it. It has opened this particular page. I will click on continue. Now authorize VS Code. Okay, here you have to click on authorize VS Code. It's asking for my password. Enter your password and click on confirm. Visual Studio Code, and this should work like Java. All right, so it has done it, and it's asking us where do you want to publish this public repo. So we will be publishing this to the public repository. Okay, so the repo name, what did I actually mention? This is TDS live session. Okay, So I will enter the name of my repository. Okay, so it will ask you to enter the name of your repository which you want to actually connect with for this particular GitHub instance. For this time, this is the name of our GitHub repository, and I will be publishing it to the public repository. Okay, so it's giving me two options: either you can publish it on private repository or public repository. I will be clicking on the public repository option. Okay, so so it's saying GitHub repository already exists. All right, should work then. Okay.
I think rather than searching for a name, it's actually creating a new one. So that's why it's
Yeah,
showing it
that's
already
what I
exists and you
think it's
can.
doing. Let's click on escape. I'll make one more change over here. Let's do this and save. All right. And push. Okay, it's asking us to add a remote. Okay, add a remote repository name. Okay, it's giving us all those repo names which we can actually use. Okay, so it's asking for the remote name. All right, let's okay, yes, it's origin.
I think it have done something. Maybe it have created a new repo. I don't know. Just try to refresh.
Well, what I usually do is I initially I set up this entire connections with bash commands, and then when it has been actually set up entirely, then I use it for committing. So I'm just trying to show you guys if it is possible to actually establish a connection without running a command. Okay, so where is
It's
it?
possible. I don't know. Like,
All right, it has done it. So I just refreshed my page, and now it has done it. And as you can see that here is my try.ipynb file, and should contain all my changes which I have made. Okay, so this is the code, and when you will go outside over here, you can see that another change. So this is the message of our most recent commit which we committed. All right, so now whenever I will make some new changes, let's add another name. Okay, let me add Jivraj's name. Okay, and okay, it's printing it. Let's commit it once again. I will click on. I will let's give it a message of Jivraj name added. All right, so this is the message. And now what I will do is, instead of clicking on this commit button, I will click on this arrow for more actions. Then I will click on commit and push. Okay, so it has successfully done that. And let's check. Yes, it has done it. So as you can see that this is the most recent commit which it has made. So let's check if there is some change in our code as well. All right, so as you can see that it has committed those changes, and now Jivraj is also present on the board. Okay, so this is how you can actually use VS Code for managing everything, for managing the entire Git uh, your Git repositories. And I would say this is much more convenient than running bash commands in WSL or GitHub Git bash. So that's much more convenient, and I usually use this particular option. What I actually do different from what I have done right now is that I established this entire connection with the Git repository firstly, and then I actually start using it. So initially, I just create a new Git repository, establish a connection with the repository. Sorry, create a new Git instance, create a new repository, then establish the connection between them, and then I simply use it for committing or committing more changes, changing to different branches, creating more branches. So that's how I usually do it. Uh, yeah. So, any questions for this particular part?
It also showed at one point like it tried to create a brand new repository. Like, was that new even for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, that I usually uh, do it like I firstly establish the connection between the repositories and the Git instance using bash commands. Then I use it. So that was new for me as well. But somehow it worked. I guess it will work when you will actually click on commit and push. So let's make one more change. Okay, saved, and just click on this one, then commit and push. Then what it will actually tell you, it will actually ask
Basically,
you to add
basically
a
what
remote.
commit.
It will ask you where to push it.
Yeah. So it will ask you to add a remote. So remote is something like that actually establishes the connection between GitHub and Git in your in your device. Okay, so this is how you actually establish the connection, and it will ask you for that remote. You have to enter that, and then it will allow you to establish that connection. Okay.
This saves a lot of hassles for us to, like, rather than going into terminal and writing up a lot of codes, you can simply do this.
Exactly. So rather than going to a terminal, you can simply do everything in VS Code. So this is the quality of VS Code which you can utilize. All right. So any questions? All right. So I guess there are not any more questions for this. So Jivraj, should we move ahead?
Sure, sure.
All right.
Basically,
So
problem with the problem why I was facing problem with committing was because what I had added in the remote was HTTPS. So for that, I had to use personal access token. So I have to change my remote URL to the SSH one.
all
That was
right.
the
All
mistake
right.
that I
So
was doing.
I guess whenever you are creating a new repository, it actually gives you an SSH URL and then another URL for adding a remote,
Yeah, yeah. So there are
right?
two ways to add remote URL. One is
Yeah.
through SSH and another is through HTTPS. So if you use HTTPS
Yes.
one, then uh, so if you just go to some repo, just go to one of your repos.
Should I create a new repo?
No, no, you can go to any existing repo. So if you click on code button over here, just click on code button, code.
The green one, like in the center.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So here
Yeah.
you
Here.
can get the option of SSH and HTTPS. So you would have to use the appropriate connection. If you are using SSH, then you will have to use that as a remote URL.
So what I was thinking of doing is, uh, Jivraj, what do you say? Should I show them how, like, there was some some errors with my part as well? So there was some some hiccups in my part. So what do you say, that should I show them how I usually do this, like really fast, or should we continue?
I think if students would do it by themselves, then if they face any issue, they can take help from GPT. So I think
All
that
right,
would
all right.
work.
So let's move ahead then. Next question was yours, I guess.
Next question was to like install Git bash, I guess.
Yeah, terminals and WSL.
Is Git bash and WSL essentially same?
Well, I would say
No,
that Git bash won't allow you to execute few commands. which are present in Linux, which actually WSL will. So that's my experience. So I when I was doing system commands, I tried to use git bash instead of installing a new instead of using WSL, and it won't allow me to execute some command. So that's why. So there is a difference between them. So there is some limitations in git bash, but I guess WSL gives you full freedom to anything you want.
Just a question. When I'm trying to connect my VS and GitHub, it is showing me to configure my username and email. Where do I do that?
So when you were trying to make a commit, right?
Yes,
I have.
I was following Saransh, and I was doing as a little behind him, but somehow I landed up my connection is not proper.
So
Is it
like it
from
has
VS Code or from terminal? Were you doing it
VS
from
Code,
terminal?
VS Code,
okay.
VS Code.
So you were in VS Code, and when you try to commit something, or when you were
Yeah,
trying to establish a connection.
yeah. It is saying me make sure you configure your user dot name and username email in Git, and then
Maybe
open.
Jatin, what you can do, you can share your screen.
Yeah,
Sure, sir.
that would be better.
Is visible?
Yeah, it is.
Like I did like this. You open this at some point of time in your
Mhm. Yeah.
display. I made a new account. I made a
Okay.
new repository, TDS repository. This is the
Got
name.
it.
I also put the same name. I then made a Python file. Hello world. I typed this. Now when I'm doing commit, it takes me here and open git log. This is opening output. I'm
Uh,
sure missing some step.
this is your file which you have opened.
Yeah. Print hello world.
Okay. Do one thing. Write a message over there
Here.
in the source control. Source control.
Okay.
Yeah. Write a message. Anything.
No.
Instead of clicking on commit, you can click on the arrow once. Commit and push. Okay. Open git log.
I- does the git account, like I just created the git account.
Jatin, I think you would have to configure Git using some line of code. I have pasted 2 lines in the chat box. Just try to do it.
Hmm.
Copy them one by one.
Where do I need to copy paste this?
In the terminal, in VS Code, go to terminal.
Yeah. This below menu, the menu which has been opened at the below,
So if you
right below of this.
see, yes, yes, yeah, just paste it here, and then you use double quotes. Put your email address, and there is one more command in the chat box.
No, you have to
Third
make
one.
sure that it's the same email that you opened the GitHub
Yes, yes.
account with.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
You can copy name. Okay.
Hmm.
Now try to commit.
Okay, it has no remote branch.
No main.
So click on OK. Okay, it's doing something. Okay. Would you like VS Code to periodically run git fetch? Click on yes.
I think it's committed.
Oh, it is.
Just wait
Has
for
been.
some 30 seconds. Maybe it will commit. Can you go back to VS Code?
Hmm. Can you make some changes over here in the
Yes.
code?
Yes, new one.
Any changes, like changes hello world to your own name, anything.
I
Editor view.
think it have logged it up.
Just close this file and then go to your directory over that. Yeah, this first one. Double click over here. Now you can make some changes. Okay, go back to source control. The third one, the third tab. Yeah. Now instead of clicking on commit, no, just cancel this. Instead of clicking over here, uh, click on that arrow.
Which arrow, sir? This one?
Yeah, this one. Commit and push. It should ask you to add a new remote. All your changes and commit them directly. All right, click on yes.
Branch is up to date.
Okay, so we haven't added any message over here. That's why it's stuck enough. It's going to run this forever.
So what is the way to get rid of running it forever? Is it just close
Just
the
close
VS
it
Code?
once. Just close it.
Okay, okay.
Click on the
Close this.
cross. Close this. No, close VS Code as well. Okay, it has stopped. Yes. Open it once again. Okay. Okay, it has opened that exact folder. Now go to source control once again. Now enter some message. So remember this, whenever you're trying to commit something, always enter a message. Otherwise, it will be stuck in a for loop and not a for loop, a while loop.
While true.
Yeah. Make some changes in the file as well. Otherwise, it won't allow you to commit any changes. No, cancel this, cancel this. Click on that arrow,
Commit and
then
push.
commit and push. Okay. There are no state changes. Click on yes. Okay. It has established this booking. All right. I guess it has
As
not
in,
established any connection with the Git repo. Yeah, it has not established those connections with the Git repo. Go back to that. Yeah, refresh this page. Okay, it hasn't done that part.
Okay,
All right, what
maybe
we can do is instead of like focusing, instead of trying to do this part, this connection part with VS Code, we can run few commands in the starting, and then it will allow us to establish. Then we can do everything with VS Code instead. Can you open that VS Code one second? Okay. Now, Jivraj, can we run bash commands in PowerShell as well? Build
PowerShell.
commands.
No, not in PowerShell.
Okay.
Uh,
Can you open terminal once?
he can run from terminal.
Okay, okay.
No, you can use the VS Code
That
terminal
terminal.
itself.
Git
VS
bash
Code.
also, right?
How do we,
Okay.
Just place your cursor at the very bottom. Now,
Uh,
no, no, no. Above this, and it will show you an two-headed arrow. Little below, little below. No, no. Over this particular border.
Like there is a black border put it there.
Yeah,
The
there is a
line,
black
yeah,
border.
yeah,
A
a
little
little
bit,
Jatin,
below.
a little bit lower. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There it was. A little bit up, like right between the cross section of the light black and the dark black. Bit above.
Jatin,
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, there it was.
uh, here.
Just pull it up.
Hmm.
All right. So now what we can do is we can run few git commands to establish this connection. Okay. Uh, uh, Click on type git status. Enter. Okay. Your branch is up to date with origin main. All right. We can make this connection using a particular command, and it is just go
git
back to
remote
your
add.
git repo once. Okay. Just scroll down. Here you can see the second last line, the second last command. No, above this particular block of code. Yeah, this one. The
This
second last command, git remote add origin. Copy this, paste it here, and run it. Okay.
You can set it
Origin.
up. That there is a way to update the current one, so you can just set it up. So just you open ChatGPT and ask it how do I update remote repo in Git. I think it might have some other repo. How do I update a remote repo in Git?
Even ChatGPT is thinking.
server busy.
Uh, Usually it should work like this.
Can you type git remote hyphen v
Get remote
hyphen
hyphen.
v space hyphen v?
Space hyphen.
Is it correct? Repo? I think yeah. Sweet.
No, the
Have Git
repo is
connection.
different. There is a TDS repo that's created. It should be TDS live session instead.
Is it?
Yes, sir. This is the one I created right now.
Okay, okay. So there is a way to update the URL. I don't remember how to do
Guys,
that.
what we can do is
No, this
uh,
updated 5 minutes ago.
It created a brand new repository in itself.
created a brand new repository.
This one
Let's
I
do
did
one
not
thing.
create.
No, it
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
did
the
for you.
VS Code created
VS Code
itself.
did.
Oh,
Yeah. What we can
nice.
do is I can share my screen once and I will show you the entire process, like in a very streamlined way, how you can simply create and then use VS Code to do everything.
So this has already created, but it's private, so I can make this public, and this works fine, I guess.
Yeah, it can work, but the thing is that we have to, when you create a new repository, you should be able to connect it with the uh, Git instance in your device. It should
Yes.
not create a new repo and then, itself and then give you a new repo. This
Yes, sir.
isn't how it should work.
You just stop sharing.
All right, I will quickly show this part because it has already consumed a lot of time. Okay.
Yeah, Sharansh, we can even
Yeah.
cut from here to uh, keep it a separate video, and then maybe we can upload this particular recording in two different parts.
I Can you please repeat? I wasn't able to understand what you just said.
Like what you are doing right now, you are
Uh-huh.
trying to uh, create a repo and then push it from a VS Code
Yeah.
uh, in seamless manner, right? So you
Yeah.
will do everything in a structured way. What we can do, we can cut from here till where
Uh-huh.
you uh, till when you complete discussing this
Mm-hmm.
GitHub part, and then we can upload it as one
As
video.
a video on YouTube,
Yeah, on YouTube.
right?
Yeah.
All right. Then that would be much more helpful for everyone. All right, so I will start explaining everything, like I'm, I will be explaining in a new video. All right. So guys, over here we are trying to actually uh, create a new Git instance from a device, and then actually establish a connection between the a new repository on your on our GitHub account. All right. So first and foremost, create a new folder over here. Okay. And I want you guys to kind of go along with all these steps. Okay. I will be creating this new folder. Let's give it a name of GitHub. Okay. Let's open this, and let's open it with code. Okay, because we are actually going to work with VS Code once. So let's get a new file, and I will name this file. Okay, mm, let's call it GitHub. Okay, because why not? And it would be an IPyNB file. Okay, now what we can do is simply write some lines of code. Hello world. Okay, let's set a new kernel. So this selecting a new kernel is just exclusive to IPyNB files. You won't be required to do all this in Python notebooks, Python files. Okay, so I've done this. What we can do right now is, okay, so this was the first step: create a new folder, then create a new file in that folder. Okay, so and the next step is go over here, right click, show more options, then click on Git Bash here. Okay, so this Git Bash here, these two options, Git UI, Git GUI here, and Git Bash here, these two options will be available only when you have installed Git in your systems. Okay, so I will just click on Git Bash here. Okay, and now it will give you a new window. uh, let's enlarge it a bit. Okay, what I will do is, firstly, I will be running few commands. So these commands would be like foundation stone for establishing this connection. And then after that, we will be using VS Code for managing everything in our Git repository. All right. So uh, the first command which you have to write in order to establish a Git instance is git init. Okay, so this is the first command. uh, just simply enter it. So it has created this new Git instance right in your folder. Okay, which we created. And if you guys are not able to see this particular folder, so that's because it has been actually hidden. So this is a hidden folder, so that's why you may not be able to see this particular folder. So what you can do is simply go to view. Okay, then go to show, and then go to hidden items. Okay, so I have checked this hidden items, that's why it's showing me this hidden folder. Otherwise, if I just click over here, and then it will just vanish. Okay, so it would be better just simply click on hidden items, and now I can see this particular folder right over here. Okay, now what you have to do is, I will make look. Okay, let's check what is the status of our uh, Git instance. So it just said me that you have a untracked file which is git.ipynb, github.ipynb. So what I will do is, I will just add this file in a tracker. So it is now tracking it. Now when you will run this git status command once again, it will show you in greens. Okay, so this shows that all these, so red means that this is not being tracked by GitHub, and green means that it is being tracked by GitHub. Okay, so you're playing it's safe when it's green. Okay, so when this is done, what you have to do, you have to establish the connection. Okay, and for that, let's go to our page. Okay, so this is my GitHub account. Okay, if you don't have it, simply create a new GitHub account. It's free, obviously. Okay, simply create a new GitHub account, and now we have to create a new repository, GitHub repository. For that, simply go to this repositories tab. Okay, now click on new. Okay, so this will create a new repository for you. Clicking over here, now it will ask you for a repository name. Let's name it GitHub. It should be capital, GitHub demo. Okay, because I'm giving you a demo, that's why. Otherwise, you can keep any name you want. Okay, and also names of GitHub repositories should be, the spaces. You can't do this. Okay, so you have to, whenever you have to give a space, simply replace it with a hyphen. Okay, this is how it works in GitHub. Now here you can add some description. Okay, GitHub demonstration. Okay, now it gives you the option of selecting whether you want this particular this repository to be public or private. So what does public and private mean? Public, as the name suggests, everyone on the internet can see this, and uh, there will be no restrictions on whoever is seeing this particular repository. And private is for those cases whenever you are like you're working for a company and they don't want to expose their code to the entire world, which is which is true most of the times. So then we will use a private repository. So private repositories are exclusively shown to the collaborators. So whenever you are creating a private repository, it will ask you, do you want to add new collaborators? Okay, so collaborators are those people who you actually give access to your private repositories. Okay, so for this particular demonstration, I will be going with public. Obviously, I don't care whoever sees my hello world. Okay, so simply select public and then create repository. Okay, so this has been done. Here you are on this page. Now, over here in this particular chunk of code, you will get this command, git remote add origin. Okay, copy this command, copy this entire command, then go back to git bash, paste it. So how does pasting happen in VS Code? It's done by how does pasting happen in git bash? It's done by clicking on the uh, right mouse click and then paste. Okay, this is how you actually paste in git bash. Press enter. So over here, what it actually did is it actually established a new connection from your device to the GitHub repository. Okay, so this has established this connection. Now you are free to do whatever you want. Okay, so let's head back to our GitHub. Okay, so here it is. I will now how you can actually access that GitHub uh, that that GitHub instance. So over here you can see few tabs are present over here. Simply click on this source control. Okay, now this source control will actually allow you to manage your GitHub instance, and along with that, it will help you to push those particular changes to your GitHub repositories as well. Okay, so for committing these changes, so commit basically means that you are committing, okay, I am going to push these changes right now at this instance. All these particular changes should be pushed to my GitHub repository. Okay, so whenever you're going to commit something, always make it a habit of yours. Always write a message. Okay, otherwise sometimes it will just go in a while loop, and not a while loop. So because like it will be like a never-ending cycle. It will just keep on running and running, and nothing will happen. So simply write a message. So I will write a very generic message, which is first commit. Okay, so this is my first commit. Now what you have to do is, when you click over this, don't click on this particular button. Okay, rather click over this particular arrow, and then click on commit and push. Okay, so it has, okay, the branch master has no remote branch.
Okay,
Okay,
sir, I'll take your leave. Thank you for the session.
all right. So I will click on OK, and let's see if it has actually done. Okay, so this is how you can actually use. So you can now just make some more changes. Let's say you can make more changes, and whenever you save them, it will actually ask you to commit these changes. Okay, so as you can see that these particular changes have been reflected in my GitHub repository. Simply open this and you can see that code. Okay, so okay, so here is my code, and this is how you seamlessly establish an connection from your GitHub instance, Git instance, not GitHub, Git instance from your device to your GitHub repositories. Okay, so this is the entire process which I actually use. Okay, it's a mix of VS Code and Bash commands. Okay, all right, so this was the end of it. Thank you. All right, so anyone have any questions in this particular section? Oh, I see only
So,
6 of us are remaining.
so in the work that that you guided me to do, at what instant did we create the Git instance? At what point of time?
Git init,
I did not
right here.
use that command, sir. Like,
Yeah, you must have clicked on create new instance, I guess.
I did not.
So that might be the case with your problem, I guess.
And
So
somebody mentioned WSL, Bash, and PowerShell. These
yeah,
three are softwares for running the VS Code.
no,
No, no, these
VS
are
Code. VS
terminal
Code is,
softwares.
yeah, these are terminals. So these are available in your VS Code. Here is your PowerShell. You can create a new Git Bash right here. Okay, if I
Okay.
click on Git Bash, so this is a Bash script open right here. I can whatever I did right over here, I could have done this Git in this Git Bash script as well. Okay,
It's like an
and here
inbuilt
is
terminal for the VS Code, and you can essentially choose which software to run the terminal on. It can be PowerShell, it can be Git Bash, whichever one is installed in your PC, it will show there.
And what is the by default? Like, I did not make any changes. So what is the by default
PowerShell.
thing? PowerShell. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So this was it, and also I guess no one has any problems with that GitHub question. Uh, so Jivraj, should we move ahead?
Sure.
Okay. I see only 4 students are remaining at the moment.
That is because it took a lot of time in configuring it at my end. I have done it a lot, I think 1 year ago or something.
I guess we should proceed with the Bash questions, right?
Sure. Yeah. So, anyone have any idea how would you do this question?
You download the files, you extract it, and you essentially write the script which allows you to do the questions. Like in this specific one, it is asking us to replace all the IITM case insensitive into IIT Madras. You write a script that essentially does that. You run the script so that all the files get changed according to that, and then you open a terminal. Then you put in the directory where the file is located at, and then you run this code. It should give you an output which goes here in the answer section.
Yeah. So, what kind of script would you be writing?
Python, Java, depends on you. It just needs to get the file changed. depending on what the question is.
All right. Okay.
I was using Python in the most case. At one point, I did Java, but then again, I started using Python.
Biswal, when you
Yes.
created that Python script, how many lines did it took to write that entire
Yeah, there are
script?
four questions in this Git bash section. In
Hmm.
average, it was like 10 to 8 lines of codes, I guess.
We will show you how you can do that entire thing in just with just one line of code. Right, Shivraj?
Hmm. Actually, what you can do, you can even use sed editor. So what sed will allow you to do, you can run across all those files that are in this particular folder, and then you can match with the IITM, and then you can replace it with IIT space Madras. So basically now I want to be coding it. I will ask GPT to code it for me. Can so the motivation behind using said editor is it is very much fast, and I think most of us already know how we can do it in Python because that we are almost familiar with it. So it is uh, we can try some other way of doing the same question. Can you solve it using said editor?
Also, Jivraj, please remove that unzip part from the prompt. Otherwise, it might give some, unzipping code as well.
Sure. There are multiple files in a folder. Think replace all IITM with IITM address in all the files living as okay.
I guess it has given us the code to actually run through each and every file and then run this sed command.
Yeah. So if you look over this particular piece of code, and if we just go to this particular directory, and let me create one more directory over here. Let me create it, a test directory. So right now I have one file and one directory, and within test I can create one more file. Let's call it a 2. So now if I go back here, I have one directory, one file, and in test directory we have another file. So now what I will do, I will just try to execute this particular command, and instead of this path to directory, what I will do, I will just put dot. So this dot means current working directory, and then it have got us these files. So this is file from test folder, this is file from the current directory, and these are files from .git directory, that is from hidden directory. So if we just do LA, then it will show this hidden directory as well. So this find command, what it will try to find all these files, because we have asked to find files by stating type as file. Instead of stating type as file, if I do type as directory, then it will match with all the directories. So it is matching with current directory, and then it is also matching with the test directory. Then it is matching with these different directories which are present in uh, git folder. So anyone have any doubt till now?
Jivraj,
Yeah, sure.
let's do one thing. Let's create two txt files which will contain your name, Jivraj, and then we will try to replace Jivraj with Saransh. What do you say?
All right, okay. Let me create two
Let's create
files.
two.
I will just
Yeah.
remove this particular. Instead of removing it, I will just go back and create some other file
Mhm.
folder to cd2. Now I'll create two file over here.
Mhm.
Uh, vi1 and have Yuvraj as the text, and then I will create another file which have.
No, 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 no. Just uh, write Jivraj and some more text with it. Like Jivraj is cool. Let's go with that. Okay.
Okay, so in first
Okay.
file
So
we have just Jivraj, and in second file we have Jivraj's cool. Now what I will do, I will try to copy and paste the same code which GPT have given me.
Jivraj, rather than like copying this entire code, let's show them how you can use the sed commands first. Okay.
Okay,
So we will be just replacing Jivraj with Saransh for, let's say, this first file, this one file. Okay.
so when I use cat command, it uh, lists it here. What was the way? Okay, so I can use head, and then what I will use s, which is for substitute, and then I will try to match it with Jivraj, and then I will change it to Sharansh.
Mhm.
And if I put global over here, that means wherever it matches Jivraj, it will change it to Sharansh. Instead of global, if I put 1, then it will change it with the first occurrence of Jivraj.
Mhm.
And instead of 1, if I put 2, then it will change the second occurrence. So right now I will just put global over here, and then I will mention first file. And now on the standard output on the terminal, we are getting Sharansh over here. But let me have a look at what is in the file. So in file, it is still Jivraj right now, right? So now what I will do, if I just give -i option, so for any command in bash, there is something called option. Is like um, they provide different options. For example, this -i, what it would do, it will uh, save all those changes to the same file. So earlier it didn't change in the same file. Instead, what it have done, it will have uh, outputted the changed text to the terminal. But now if I give -i option, it will change it in place. So now if I try to look at the same file, it have Sharans in it. So if there are
Let's do
multiple
one thing now.
lines, yeah, Sharansh.
Yeah, let's do one thing. uh we can let's show them how you can also manage case sensitive values. Let's say in these particular files we had Jivraj with the J capital, and rest all of those alphabets were cursive. But let's just change something, like let's make the I letter caps lock and few more changes, and then show that does this command run then.
I just wanted to ask, these commands are a part of which language or which module?
They are bash commands. So if you
Dash
have
command.
bash, yeah,
Okay.
can right now I will open it in the same editor, change it to, let us say, small j, capital I, VRJ.
Let's make it random. Let's make it something random. R caps lock, J caps lock. Let's do this. Yeah,
Okay.
now things are spiced up a bit. Let's check
Now
it out.
instead of writing it out to a file, I will just put it to the editor. I mean the terminal itself. So now it haven't changed, right?
Yeah, it haven't changed anything. It just outputted what was inside that file. So it just gave you Jivraj with those scrambled up words. Okay, so it's not actually searching with it's not like changing it's not searching with the case as well. So it's actually searching Jivraj where the J is caps lock and rest all the letters are cursive. So this is how it's actually working. So rather than this, if we want to introduce like case sensitivity as well, what we can do is there is an option, I guess, Jivraj. There is an caps lock I option, if I am remembering correctly.
Let us try that out. Hyphen capital I. And what happened? Oh, that is an invalid option.
I guess it was hyphen A or I.
Okay. So if you remember what is option, then you can always in the manual. If you type man and
Rather we can simply go to ChatGPT and ask.
yes, that is easier way. So
Yeah, just tell him we want.
how do I enable case insensitivity
Okay, only two people are remaining in this meeting. Alright.
in said?
Said.
Okay, we have to put minus I as a flag at the end.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
let's
it
try this.
should be like I and G both, right?
Yeah, like, I is for insensitivity and G is for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
globally. Okay, now let me try this.
You haven't mentioned the file.
Oh, okay.
Did you
So
guys see this? It actually, it worked. It searched all those, it searched Jivraj without any case sensitivity, and it actually replaced it with my name. So this is how you are actually going to, change IITM with IIT Madras. So this is actually the code, which this is the way which you are going to make those changes.
This will
And
be done
also,
in one line instead of the Python script that we write for 10, 15.
absolutely, this is just a
Okay.
one line code. And also remember one thing, Jivraj, the I option, we have to include the I option, right? To make the
uh,
changes permanent.
yes, if you want to write it out to a file, then you will have to provide minus I option that will change the
Yeah.
file itself.
So this is how you are actually going to make those changes. All right.
And then you can create the loop same way that it have created a loop over here. It is using it is first trying to locate all the files and then it is executing this particular command. So this what is this exec? It allows you to execute uh, any command. So this uh, uh, find command have a option minus execute, so it will allow you to execute any command over there. Anyway, Sharansh,
Yeah, this was my question. All right. Let me share my screen.
So can we continue from the next session?
What do you say, Jivraj? Only two guys are remaining in the meeting.
um,
Should we continue from next session? Or should we? What do you say? Jivraj, are you there?
Oh yes, sure. Let's try to complete it. I think from next
All right,
session we can
because
start.
these live sessions will be uploaded to YouTube, and let's go ahead with this particular part. All right, so the question. Let me open the question once. Okay, where it is. Yeah. So the question was, we actually have to. Okay, where it is. Okay, so we have to use this ls command to get all the size and the modification dates of all these files which are present in the directory. So I won't be downloading this zip folder, and I won't be extracting this to fetch out all those files which are actually present in the zip folder. But what we can do is, we can instead, let's go ahead, where it is. Okay, I'll be working this GitHub one. Okay, so I will be creating a bash script right now. Okay, no, not a bash script. I will be creating a WSL script. Okay, this is the WSL terminal, and how you can actually access this WSL terminal, because whenever if you are going to like click over here, and then you will see that, okay, Saransh said that you should be able to find an Ubuntu WSL, but there is nothing. So for this, what you can do is, you can simply go to the extensions tab and search for WSL, and you have to download this one. Okay, so this is the extension which you have to actually install. Simply click on the install button, and it will install this extension. And then you have to restart VS Code, and then you will get this WSL uh, terminal. All right. So let's use ls command, and I will be using lsl. All right. So what the lsl actually does is, it will give you the entire, it will give you the entire details about this file. So this is the user of this file, this is the size of this file, and this is the date it was last edited. All right. So what we can do is, so if you look at the question, it's asking us that you have to filter out those particular files which are at least this amount of have this amount of byte storage in them, and then you have to filter out this particular thing. So I would say that instead of actually doing everything in bash, why not combine our techniques and tools to make it much more easier for us? All right. So what we can do is, rather than doing this, what I will do, I will print this entire thing. So whenever you are solving that particular question, so you will get an entire list of these details, because I have just one file, that's why it's showing me just one instance. Okay, so what I will do is, I will save this entire output. So this is the output of ls hyphen l. I will save this entire output to a file. Okay, and that file would be, let's name it details.txt. Okay, so it has created this particular file. All right, can you guys see this? Also, it has added its own details as well. So that's two instances for you. And here is the file which you can use. Okay, so now let's do one thing. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is, because we have to perform some filtering tasks, and something related to yeah, we have to perform those filtering tasks. So what comes to mind when you think of filtering out data? Can anyone just tell me which software comes to mind when you're thinking of filtering out stuff? Anyone? The answer is Excel. Okay, so simple. You can simply filter out everything in Excel. Okay, so let's do one thing. What I will do is, uh I will use multi cursor over here. Okay, so how does multi cursor work? Simply press down alt, and then you will be able to use multiple cursors. Okay, so this is how multi cursors works. And what I will do is, I will press control, and then it will just jump to the end of that particular word. Okay, now what I will do is I will insert a comma. I will just delete that space. Then again, control and right arrow key, arrow, sorry, comma, and then delete this one. Control and right arrow, comma, delete. Control right arrow, comma, delete. Okay, control right arrow, comma, delete. Okay, so now we have come to the, the time it was actually edited. So instead of placing comma right here, what I will do is I will place comma right here. Okay, this is where I will be placing this comma, and it has been done. Okay, so your uh, so this is your CSV file. What I will do is I will simply save it, and then I will change rename this file to, let's say Excel. Let's give it XLX. Okay, so this is our Excel file now. Okay, it's opening. Okay, XLSX not valid. It's saying it's not valid. Okay, uh, let's give it CSV instead. Okay, let's open it. All right, are you guys able to see that we have this entire CSV file to us? Now what you can do is
Yes, sir.
simple. Yeah, Jatin, you were saying something.
No, no, I was just adding. Yeah.
Okay, so you have this entire CSV file to you. Now I won't be showing you how you can actually filter stuff. So that's for you to find it out. If you are not much experienced with Excel, if you are experienced, then that's cakewalk for you. Okay, so you can right here filter out stuff, and this is how you are going to. So as you can see that it has converted it to date time format as well. Okay, so what else do you need? Okay, simply run those filtering options and you will be able to solve this question. So that's it, and this question has been solved. Any questions?
No, sir.
Sakshi, you have been quite quiet the entire meeting. Do you have any questions or anything to add, Sakshi?
No, sir. Actually, I'm trying to just understand the whole. Actually, I've taken the class from the starting, so I'm
Okay,
just grasping the what we can do and how can we use WSL and virtual machine, so we can. So that's why I'm not asking, but I understood everything, and I will try it on myself. And
that's
then, if I
great.
have a doubt, then I will ask you about it.
Sure. Uh, you are feel free to tag to me on your discourse posts asking me anything. Okay, so that's my job, and that we are being told to do. Okay, so feel free and just go ahead and ask your questions on discourse. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so
Thank you.
I guess this everything has helped you guys. Okay, so this was the last question of our entire live session, and because we have significantly less number of students with us right now, so I guess we will be taking the rest of the questions in the next live session. Okay, so any feedback you guys may have? Jivraj, can you please switch off the recording? I guess we can have informal discussion.